Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Chef Dan. Hope you enjoy. We're going to cover a few interesting things. My hat's on backwards here. Just keep it the right way. I can't find my other hat, so I'm using my college hat, and I don't really want to, advertise it too much, so I'm going to keep it on backwards. And I might look a little funny today. All right. See, I got these lockers at this new place, and I left it in the locker, so we're going to use it like that. And I'm volunteering at another place. I guess that starts tomorrow. I got a call, all right, from one of the nicest restaurants in the Ottawa area, and it's February. There's not a lot of money. I offered to volunteer, and I'm going to tell you something. As a chef, as a cook, if you want to learn, if you want to even get into a nice place, you might have to volunteer. Don't be afraid to volunteer. I mean, if you're not a smoker and you're not an addict of some kind, you should have some kind of money put away somewhere to be able to do something like that. So, I mean, I do okay. I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough to get by, and I have enough to maybe volunteer for a month or two. So, I requested to the chef if I could come in and volunteer for a little bit, help out. Just to be in his restaurant is a wonderful thing, and with any luck, I mean, I could get on payroll in a month or two. I mean, it's just it's a privilege, to be able to be allowed in the restaurant of such quality. I mean, it's not a bar deep fried, this deep fried that. No, this is a quality restaurant, serving oysters, things like that, and I'm just really lucky that they even said yes. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to help out, and I will feel privileged. You never know. If I get on the payroll, it'd be a wonderful thing. So you got to do that. As a chef, as a new chef, you just got out of school, or you've been working in bar restaurants for a while, and that's all you're doing is deep frying, making burgers with 30-70 fat. you know they say don't squish the burger. Don't forget it's to 160 degrees cooked burger. Oh, I've made so many burgers. I mean, they have squished burgers, and they have little burgers. Big burgers are real squished like that. And then they got regular burgers, and then they got giant burgers. I saw 1 pound burgers yesterday on YouTube. I'm like, oh my God, 1 pound burgers. I imagine they're going to get some good business. I hope they're decent prices, I mean, one of my first places serving burgers, I mean, they were 6 ounces, I think. And then I worked for another place, and it was 4 ounces. And I worked for another place, it was 3.2 ounces. So, I mean, almost every restaurant serves different ounce burgers. So when you go to make them, you're going to make them in different ways. A 3.2 ounce burger, you're probably going to roll them up, and you're going to put in a hotel pan. You're going to put 32 or whatever in a big hotel pan of balls, and there'll be squish burgers probably at 3.2 ounces. Or I mean, if you got a 6 ounce burger, you're probably going to flatten them, with a burger maker, and then stack them one on top of another with parchment in between, and then you're going to store them like that. I mean, so it all depends, on the restaurant, but while getting into a classier joint really means a lot. So, I mean, I'm willing to volunteer, and you should be willing to volunteer. So, I mean, that's, you got to be cool with that. If you want something, you can have it. But sometimes it takes a little sacrifice. Anyways, moving on, I wanted to talk about Bellanaise sauce. All right, it's something I really like making. I've tried to make it a few different ways. Some ways it tastes good, some ways it doesn't. I made a little reduction yesterday, not using red wine. I added a little bit of flour to it, and it's my own little recipe, and it was really good, only it wasn't all that great with veal. I made it with veal. I bet you it would have been awesome with maybe chicken breast. I'm curious about maybe steak, but I think chicken breast. I think it's the kind of sauce that would be good with chicken breast. And yes, I created it. No copycats. You know what they say about plagiarism? They teach you that in college. But anyways, plagiarism. I mean, what are you going to do if you're going to make hotel butter, I mean, hotel butter, it's all pretty much made the same way, I mean, you got your unsalted butter, right? I mean, you got your wet parsley. Geez, what's in hotel butter? Unsalted butter, you got parsley, you got salt for your unsalted butter. Oh, geez. You want to make garlic butter? You add garlic. All right, I may not have parsley in it. There's other concentrations of butters. I mean, I wrote down a few really cool ones. Let me get my glasses on because I can't see anything. I'm blind. Aha, there you are. I'm going blind in my older days, but I am still just as powerful when it comes to making things like compound butters. Now I have a garlic butter here. Now going to make them in a food processor. If you're working in a restaurant, you're going to make a lot of butter. All right, you're going to use one of them big machines. You're going to throw it in there, and it's going to mix it all up together. And hard can be butter can be hard at first. So I mean, there's a matter of waiting for it to soften a little bit so that it can mix with the different stuff. So I mean, this machine will do it for you. You're going to make garlic butter. You got garlic, parsley, butter. I remembered something about Parmesan cheese, although I don't think it says it here. It says salt and pepper. Pepper in the butter. I guess it all depends. I mean, are you going to use Worcestershire sauce? You going to use Dijon? Yeah. It all depends on pepper. I don't know. When you put pepper in butter, you got like little specks. I don't know if I like that, but to each their own, I think, and it all depends on how the restaurant makes their butter. They got a recipe for everything in every restaurant you go to. So lemon zest. So you got your zester, and you're zesting the lemon. That's the skin of the lemon, the yellow part of the lemon. You're zesting, zest on the zester. Parsley or cilantro. You're chopping that really fine parsley, really, really fine, make a big pile of it, all depending on how much you're making of it, Now, here's the thing about saving, all right, compound butters. Now, compound means 2, 3, 4 ingredients in it. So saving it, all right, so you're going to scoop it out, all right, with a spoon already. You're going to put it on a piece of cellophane, plastic wrap, okay, and you're going to put it in on the cellophane. So you're going to put the cellophane on the table. You're going to put a scoop or two, or big scoop would be good, all right, of the butter on the cellophane, and then you're going to kind of roll it a little bit. So you're going to put the cellophane over top of it, all right, and you're going to roll it. You're going to hold this end, and hold it like this and roll it, right, and then you're going to roll it back, and it's going to tighten up, and you're going to have like a log of compound butter. All right, take two ends and you put them together, and bang, you got a log of compound butter. All right, so once you do it the first time, you'll see. It's really cool. It rolls up into a log. Okay. And you make a few logs, you put them on a cookie sheet, and you throw them in the freezer, and it freezes. Right, and you take it out when you're ready. Now these things can be cut into medallions as well. So I mean, um, you don't want a huge fat log like this. The first time I did it, I made a big fat log. I remember working for a bar downtown, and it was a bar restaurant, of course, but they made compound butter once in a while, and well, he asked me to make compound butter, so I did it, and I made big fat logs. So I mean, it was good, but meh, you know. You want a thin enough, thin like this maybe, not fat like this, but thin like this, and you cut it in half, you cut it in medallions, this thin little wheels, you know what I mean? So there are different types of compound butters that you can make. All right, not just the garlic butter. I learned from a few chefs on the internet how to make compound butter. Um, Jean Pierre Jacques, something like that. He is an excellent chef on YouTube, and he showed me a few different techniques for the different compound butters, which I put together two or three of them. Of course, some other ones I didn't really bother yet. Maple bacon butter, you know, uh, cut bacon into squares, melt the fat, but don't cook hard. Don't cook the hard. Add garlic, minced garlic in pot. Pour into bowl. Let cool. Soft butter. Add salt, unsalted butter, pepper, chives. Mix all together with maple syrup. Repeat plastic wrap, as I was telling you a minute ago. You roll it up and it rolls into a log, and refrigerate. So, anyways, that's maple bacon butter. I mean, there's different ones here. Shallots and red wine reduction compound butter. There's a pesto sun-dried tomato and goat cheese butter. You could use blue cheese as well. Let's see. Brie golden figs caramelized onion butter. It sounds good, eh? Now I wrote it down, all right, and not to plagiarize it, is why I'm telling you I got it from Jean Pierre on YouTube. So you write down a recipe, and then you practice it. You do it at home, all right, and you practice techniques like rolling it in the cellophane, all right, to make a log out of it, all right, because the first time, as I said, my log was this thick. All right, you don't want it that thick, and butter, if you don't roll it properly, it will make that thick, right? So you want it like this. So practice a little bit, all right? On Three's Company with John Ritter, there, Jack Tripper, you remember Three's Company? Like I was saying in the last episode, he would come home every day. All right, my mentor, I love the guy. I love the man. He's a wonderful man, and he was one of the reasons why I got into cooking. But he would come home from cooking school, and he would cook for the girls, his roommates, Janet and Chrissy, and every night. And that's how he practiced. Eventually, he managed to open up his own restaurant, a French bistro, and I'd love to do that if I only had the cash to do it. There's so many millionaires out there. I mean, you can't beat somebody to the Puts In Shack at the corner in Vanier here. The Puts In Shack, Great Canadian Puts In, moved away. All right, so we don't have a Great Canadian Puts In anymore on Hannah Street in Vanier here in Ottawa. I mean, they did so well there. I think the prices went up, and real estate, and they said, well, I don't want to pay for this. We got a money maker on Bank Street. Why should we bother? I mean, these guys did amazing there for the longest time. Well, they got this beautiful little spot there that I'd love to get, but 13 or 14 other restaurant owners or millionaires or whatever people want to get their hands on it, and they're going to bid for it. I can't bid. I just don't have that kind of money. And it's probably already sold. From what I hear, it's going to be a Greek restaurant, or they're going to make something there, and it's just a perfect little spot. What I'd give to have something like that. But I don't know, maybe in 5 years, 10 years from now, if I can get into this French restaurant, I could be there 10 years, and then who would really care? I mean, being a chef, it's not all about maybe opening up your own restaurant someday. I mean, it all depends. I mean, if you're 23 years old, 24 years old, and you're a Red Seal chef before you're 25, maybe opening up a restaurant is a good idea. But me, I'm in my late 40s, and I'm going to want to retire, 15 years from now. So I could take the money that I earned, over the next 10 years and put it to that, or I can just retire on it too, So what do you do, when you're in my situation? I like the idea. I could go with a small coffee shop, French style coffee shop, and make the croissants and the muffins and stuff like that. Because I mean, the huge part of being a chef is learning a little bit of baking. But as for opening up a grand restaurant, it might not be on the table. But working for somebody, there's nothing wrong with working for somebody, especially if you get into a great place like I'll be hopefully volunteering too. Anyways, let's move on. So we talked a little bit about compound butter. All right, and the different ways you can make it. Again, it goes into one of those machines that spins like that in the big bowl like that. There's a name for it. I'm sure it would come to me if I wasn't thinking about it. I really am a chef. Look. See, there's a college name here. I graduated with honors. I made the dean's list and everything, and I made all my teachers proud of me. And if they would hear me explain this Bellanaise sauce, they'd be like, "Geez, Dan, didn't I show you right?" As lazy as I get to a lot of things, you have a recipe. You have a recipe book. You follow the recipe, and you do it the way the recipe tells you to do it. Every restaurant has a recipe book. You read the recipe. You do it that way. If you want to do it your own way, say you're making a soup, mushroom soup. If you want to make a carrot soup, you can kind of do it your own way. I mean, but when it comes to certain things, you got to follow the recipe. For the restaurants give you, and you follow those recipes, and you do fine. It's not a big deal. I mean, you memorize recipes too. Like when I'm going to talk about a Bellanaise sauce, I do it at home all the time. So because I love the taste, and it's because it's got pork in it. When you mix pork and beef together, it's just bloody amazing. So I mean, a Bellanaise. So I mean, it's like a spaghetti sauce, right? Okay, so you can make a Bellanaise for a lasagna. You can make a Bellanaise for a spaghetti sauce. I mean, it's not a rosé. Rosé is a little bit different. You mix Alfredo with a tomato sauce, and you got a rosé. But if you want to make a Bellanaise, you got chunks of meat in there, you got your mirepoix in there, you got your essence of pork. That's pork fat, and then you immersion blend it. You blend it all together, and you have a really amazing sauce. And when you start blending it with the immersion blender, all right, with that blender, it's not something you put in a RoboCoupe or a Ninja or something like that. I mean, you hold up that immersion blender in a restaurant. It's like this bloody big, but at home it's the same one I showed you in the last video, where you're just holding it in your hand. You buy it at Jean Couture for $18, and you can blend, probably make milkshakes with the same thing, but it works just fine. When you start blending it, the thing changes color. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, and the taste is just amazing. And you're putting different spices in there too, and I look for the recipe actually in all my recipes that I got from my education, and it's in there somewhere. But I mean, I got 400 pages of recipes for 1 year of college, for that 1 year of college, and I just couldn't find it. So I mean, but I have it in my head. All right, I might be a little off on it, like I was with my coco vin yesterday. The coco vin, I could have explained it better. All right, but I mean, all the information is there. You can put it together a little bit better. But I mean, the wonderful things you can do when you render a little bit of pork fat, it's just oh, so good. The sauce I made yesterday or the day before, this is my new reduction. I'll get back to the Bellanaise in a second. But what I did was, I know I made it with veal. That was probably a bad idea, but if I made it with chicken breast, all right. If I made it with chicken breast, now it's not like a chicken parm where you can dip in an egg, flour, egg, and panko. What do you call that? The breadcrumbs. All right. And this is maybe just a little bit of flour. Okay, so I mean, if you take your chicken breast, and you don't even have to pound it. You don't have to pound it. Okay, not like a chicken parm. You'd probably pound it before you go dipping it into the egg wash, the flour, egg wash, and panko. But here you're not going to pound it, so you want a nice big thick chunk of chicken breast. All right, maybe you can cut it in half. Just don't pound it. Okay, so I mean, you'll stick it in flour. Do that. You put it in a frying pan with some nice oil in it. All right, hot pan, hot oil. All right, so let that warm up, and then you're gonna put the chicken breast in. Remember, always away from you, so the splashes elsewhere. It doesn't splash towards you; it splashes away from you. So you're gonna put that in the pan, and you're gonna wait a little bit. You're gonna wait till it's golden brown. Then you're gonna flip it, and you're gonna have golden brown on that side, and that's pretty much gonna be ready. So that. All right, it's beautiful chicken breast. But what I did, all right, was I took some hot Italian sausage. Now this is my own recipe. Okay, so I mean, anybody wants to copy it, well, what am I going to do to stop you, right? But you know what they say about plagiarism. You know, um, I can't stop anybody from copying it. Nor can anybody stop me from making compound butter the way I was showed by another chef. So, I mean, it all goes around. So here I am making hot Italian sausage. All right. So I'm going to put some olive oil in a big pan, olive oil in a big pan. And I'm going to hot pan, throw 4 Italian sausage in there, hot Italian sausage. All right, not just regular medium, but hot Italian sausage. Now, when you have the sauce, it's not going to be hot. All right, it's just Italian sausage is hot, but the sauce alone, the juices and everything that comes out of it, when you mix pork fat with something else, it's just a wonderful thing happens. It's just beautiful, So, I mean, here I am, I'm cooking it, and oh boy. And I didn't put it through a sieve. I mean, I didn't put it through a strain. I didn't strain it, nothing, no cheesecloth, nothing like that. I use my favorite little whisk. I have a little whisk. It's about this big. Let me show it to you. You'll love it. Beautiful. One of the best things you could use. I love this thing. This is beautiful. This little guy, again, at the thrift store. Okay, thrift store. You can probably find it at the baking store too, on Bank Street there, across from the knifeware, where you're going to buy your Ginsu beautiful, sharp, extra sharp knives, and you can even get a nice little a water stone to sharpen. But this guy, you can whisk in a pot, you can whisk in a pan, you can whisk all sorts of stuff. You can whisk your eggs in a steel bowl. You can whisk anything. This is as beautiful a tool. It's better than even my long tweezers, I think. I love that one. All right. So anyways, here I am. I have 4 Italian sausage. They're cooking in hot oil in a big pan. Got me? Now they're cooking, and I stab them, stab, and all the juice starts coming out of it, right? So you got to flip over the sausages, all right? So you want them to cook as best as you can. They don't have to cook fully. Not a big deal at this present time, okay? Now, I had this for dinner. Now you're going to take a can of beets. Can of beets. If you want to make a hot Italian sausage red to make it look even hotter, and boy, is it ever sexy, you just throw in a can of beets and you're laughing. All right, so you're throwing in a can of beets. And the beet water, the juice, the preservatives that come in the can actually help cook the sausages, right? Now you're poking holes in the sausages, and you want all that juice to just fly out, just squirt out of your sausages. All that yummy juice. Oh, it's good stuff. All right. Now, I didn't add any onions. I didn't add any mushrooms. Boy, was it good. I'm not done yet. So, all that juice, I'm going to take some chicken stock, and I'm going to pour about 100 milliliters of chicken stock in there. All right, 100 milliliters of chicken stock. I'm going to take a pinch of kosher salt, throw that in there. Yum, yum, yum. All right. And now I'm going, all the beets are ready. All right. It doesn't take long for the beets to be ready because they're canned beets. No problem. So I'm gonna fork out all the sliced beets. They're sliced beets, by the way. They're not they're not full beets, they're sliced beets. So I'm gonna take a fork and take out all the sliced beets, and there's still all the juice in there. Now it's boiling all around, right? So it's reducing. I'm going to take out the sausage. The sausage is pretty much ready. I mean, if I cut it in half, all right, it's beautiful. All right, you don't want to cut it in half. You want to use your thermometer and find a temperature for it. 160 degrees for something like that. And you pull it out, and it's just beautiful. All right. And so all the juices are pretty much in the pan with the beef. You pull out the sausage and put them with the sliced beets on another plate. So now you have all this sauce in here. It's like a red sauce. Your sausages are red. Your hot Italian sausages are not brown. They are red from the beet juice, and they look beautiful, like golden red, like this color here. See that? These are my clippers. I used to use them a long time ago, but this color red, that's awesome. Imagine you're sitting at your table, and you got that color red sausages in front of you. They're hot Italian sausages. I mean, usually you see hot Italian sausages and they're brown, when you see little chunks of red hot pepper inside them. All right. Yeah. So they're hot Italian, but to see them red really has significance to it. So, so your sauce is reducing right now. It's still pretty liquidy. So I'm going to take some beurre manier. Beurre manier, is that the right word? So we're going to take some butter and we're going to take some flour and we're going to mix the flour and the butter together. All right, so like a tablespoon worth. Okay, and you're going to mix the butter and the flour together in a little bowl or something, like ramekin or whatever it takes, And I wouldn't say ramekin because you need a bowl, kind of. You need a bowl so that you can stick your fingers in there and you can mix it up a little bit. And you want the flour, and then maybe a little extra flour on top of it. And you're gonna throw that into your mix, and it's hot, so it's boiling, and the butter and the flour is gonna melt really fast. Use your whisk, your little whisk like this, and you're going to whisk and whisk and whisk and whisk. Get all around the edges like that, and whisk some more. And then when it is reduced to a point where it's not watery, all right, nappe. So in nappe, you're going to have your spoon, and you're going to do this to your spoon, and you're going to see a nice line. When you go over it like this, one line like this, you're going to see a nice line. If it's too watery, it's going to look too watery. Okay, this is called a nappe. So you're going to nappe like this. If you make a nice line, it's beautiful. If you don't, it's too watery, and you got to reduce it some more until it's thicker. All right. It was just perfect by that point. Okay, so I took my veal. It shouldn't have been veal, but I mean, imagine we made chicken. Okay, so you take your chicken and you're going to take your beets. All right, you're going to put them on the plate one at a time because you're talking red. Okay, now this is a job for the tweezers. All right, no drips on a white plate. Okay, one at a time. Place them very nicely, one on top of another, make a nice like step formation or something like that, and a little curve. Be imaginative. All right. And then you're going to put your chicken. All right. You're going to slice, maybe 3 slices, maybe 4 slices for your chicken breast. All right. And you're going to put them in a nice little U like this. All right. Next to that. And then you might want another vegetable right there. And then you're going to take your sauce and you're going to put it on the plate. Okay, maybe you should put the sauce on the plate before the chicken. Now, when it comes to sauce on a plate, okay, so you take the sauce, you put it on the plate, you take the back of your spoon, and you just do a little wave like this. You see that? You're going to get a teardrop look. All right. I know you know what I'm talking about. All right. Just like that. So you're going to take the sauce like that. Like that. That's all there is to it. Don't play with it too much. Just one. And you're going to put your meat on top or to the side of it a little bit. All right. And then you're going to put your beets. Then you're going to put your other whatever, legume or something there. And or you're going to want, so you got your protein, you got your legume, and then you got your starch. A little starch there, maybe a couple of those little potatoes that I got. Right in the coq au vin, we took those, we cooked those little potatoes, these russets. All right, these are like little baby russets. Now there's a name for baby potatoes. What is it again? Babies? Babettes? What's the name for it? Little baby potatoes? Anyways, these little guys, all right, are russets, all right, and they are small. how small that is. That's one potato right there. All right, so you can cut that in half, and you can put it in a hot oil, hot pan fry it, sear it like that a little bit. What's the name of baby potatoes? Let's cheat. Now, this is what a lot of people do. What are potatoes called? Baby potatoes? Surlings or something. What is it? What is it? Where is it? Baby potatoes, petite potatoes, maturity. Oh, I feel like a millennial. Surlings or something. Okay. What are baby potatoes called? New potatoes? Petite potatoes? No. Petite baby potatoes. Yearlings or something. Isn't that what it's called? Come on. Where is it? Fingerlings. Fingerling potatoes. Yeah, well, I don't like the look of these fingerling potatoes, so let's just stick with the russet potatoes. Yukon Gold is very nice. Red potatoes are nice too, but you know what? Let's stick with russet potatoes. All right, these are russets. They were $2 at the Giant Tiger yesterday. Very good deal. You cut them in half. You put them in a pan. You fry them up. They're nice golden brown. Of course, you're going to want to blanch them first. So, I mean, you boil them in water a little bit. All right, so they're nice and soft. So you boil them. Then you cut them in half, nice and easily. All right. You put them in a pan with some butter, or probably olive oil. I'd say butter maybe, and salted butter, unsalted butter. You put them in there, and they get a nice golden brown. Don't let them stick to the bottom of the pan, though. I lost a few potatoes that way. Put this back. All right. So anyways, that's the sauce that I made. And it was so good. Like it was amazing. You know, and it didn't take much. It was just some chicken stock and some flour and butter and the leftovers from the font from the hot Italian sausage, and then the liquid from the beet can, the preservatives from the beet can, the juice that was in the beet can, and all that together with a little bit of, pinch of kosher salt. I think I put a little bit of black pepper in there. My God, it was so good. Something like I wish I'd saved it, And you can actually save certain things, like if you make a glace, the one that takes a day and a half to do, or a full day to do. You want to stick in the fridge so that the fat hardens. You take the fat off, and you get a beautiful. You reduce. It takes hours to make, but in the end, you got this beautiful sauce, beautiful glaze. And that you can actually freeze, and a lot of people, you can freeze it in ice cube trays, little ice cube trays, right? And you can reuse it. So you just pull one out, and you have it. It's ready right there. You just throw it in the warmth, and it melts, and then you got your sauce right there. And so you can reuse it. So I mean, something that is difficult, timely, and a little expensive to make, you can at least save it, right? And an ice cube tray, cubes, right? So you freeze it. Anyway, so that's the Italian sausage that I made. So the Bellanaise. Now, what I do is I buy some. You can buy the pork rind, pork fat like that. But what I do because I just get bacon. Goes on sale all the time, 50% off. This one, the Independent on MacArthur. It's been 50% off now for like a month, which is totally cool. So you can buy a few of those, all right, and it's like $3 each at 50% off. But the cheap one is like $6, right? So bacon's not cheap, but when it's $3 per pack, it's pretty good. So I'll let that thaw, and then I'll cook it all at once, and I'll save the grease. The grease hardens. It's pork fat, beautiful stuff. Pork grease. So now, what I'm doing is I'm eating that bacon between then and the next day in intervals. It's sitting on a plate in my fridge, and I just go and I have one every so often because I love bacon. And again, for the nighttime snacker, that is a good thing to stick in the fridge. Just like extra hamburger, you put a little salt on it. Your hubby will love you for leaving it there for him or her to snack on when they get up in the middle of the night and they need a little something in their tummy and taste buds. All right, so that's a good one. So now I have the pork fat, right? And I saved it in a little container. All right, little glass container. I poured it in from the pan and it hardened. All right, but it's not so hard that you can't scoop it out like butter. All right. So I'm going to put that, and I'm not even going to put it in the fridge. I'm just going to let it sit there because I'm making it all right away, the Bellanaise sauce. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mirepoix. And I'm going to dice the carrots, onions, and celery, all the same size. Remember, it's 50% onions, 25% celery, 25% carrots. We don't need to worry about making a light mirepoix because we're not making like a celery soup or a cucumber soup or something like that. We're making a Bellanaise tomato sauce, right? So next on the list is we chop up all that. They're all uniform size. Uniformity is something you're going to learn in school. They're going to say uniformity. It's all got to be the same size. Make sure you do it and don't forget. Well, it's important. All right. Now, if you're making a stock, all right, and you're going to throw it all out anyways, I mean, you can use the scrapings of your carrot. You know, when you peel the carrot, you can take that stuff. All right, so you clean it first, right, under water, and then you're going to peel it. But you can take those peelings and you can throw it in because you're going to throw it out anyways. All right, you can chop up your onion really fast. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chops, and they're not uniform. They're just big chunks, right? And you just throw it into the pot because you're making a stock with it. It's going to be garbage. All right. But if you're going to make a sauce, all right, you want uniformity. And uniformity, you want the sauce because we're going to use an immersion blender on it. You have to be able to blend that up, right? So we won't be throwing it out. Plus, when you're making like a chicken stock, you're going to have chicken bones in there and everything. And when you put it through the cheesecloth to get rid of the bones and all this, that, and everything, all right, you throw it away, right? So we're making a sauce, though. All right. So uniformity. The onions are going to be cut to the proper, to a, small degree like that, little cubes, and diced cubes. And I think in one video I was showing you how to cut onion. We're probably going to do a few cuts there sometime soon, but there's no rush. Let's just do explanations for a little while. I think I might get myself a better camera, something that stands up right here, so it can film the table while I'm cutting, and that would be nice. Um, so um, in our frying pan, all right, we're going to put a little bit of oil in there, and yes, you use oil for stock too. But anyways, for the sauce in our pan, we're going to use some oil. We're going to put our mirepoix, or our onions, our carrots, and our celery, and we're going to put it all together, and it just got to cook for a little bit, just a few minutes. It's not that big a deal. Next, we're going to stick in our hamburger. All right, so we're going to take a medium ground beef, 80/20 stuff. And I think that's medium ground beef, 80/20. We're going to put it in with the mirepoix, and we're going to cook and brown that really nicely, break it apart. And we're going to put in some spices, so some kosher salt, some pepper. I believe there's a few other spices in the recipe. If you follow the recipe, all right. Now I'm making this at home, so I haven't been following the recipe. So I mean, I do have a spice rack over there, but I don't always put a whole bunch of spices in it. I'll put oregano in it, definitely. I'll put parsley in it, definitely. I put garlic salt in it, definitely. I was trying to remember. I put some chili peppers in it there. I'm not putting a whole lot, I mean, it all depends on the size that you're making too, So, I mean, I am going to put a bunch of spices in. Turmeric. And I watch that. My chef at school would slap my hand if I said that. So, anyways, that's in with the hamburger. Now the tomatoes. All right, now you can buy canned tomatoes. I don't want tomatoes with the skin on it. All right, so there's a process and there's a name for it where you can boil the tomatoes, and the skin will come right off. I have the name for this somewhere, but I don't have it at hand. I found a can of tomatoes that you can buy that doesn't have skin. No skin on the tomatoes. So, I mean, you can buy it in a can, and just buy a couple of cans of tomatoes that are skinless, and you throw that in over top of the beef. You throw in the fat of the. You know what? I throw in the fat of the bacon before I throw in the tomatoes, because you want it to melt in, kind of infuse, is that the right word, with the hamburger meat. All right, so you want that all together, and then you throw in the tomatoes. Okay, and you could have chopped some garlic too. Could have chopped some garlic. I mean, you could put a lot of stuff in there. You could have used shallots if you wanted to, with onion. You put onions and shallots and garlic. Some fresh parsley. Let's see here. Did my chef use a sachet for that? Sachet would be the parsley stems, the bay leaf. I definitely put some bay leaves in there. All right, now remember, you got to scoop those bay leaves out after. So put them in places where you know they are, okay? So maybe 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and cover them up a little bit. All right, and you're gonna let it sit there and simmer for a while, okay? And it'll cook, and all the juices will come to the top a bit, and it'll cook, and then you take those leaves out. Okay. Now here's a really fun. You take your immersion blender, and you go in there with the blender, and those carrot chunks should be nice and soft by now. All right, and everything should be really easy to clean up and to immerse, to blend together. So when you put that blender in there, I mean, and you're using the Rowan raw what do you call that big pot? It's a pot like this. It's big like this. Robbling. Well, it'll come to me in a second. But anyways, you're not really using a stock pot to make this. All right, you're using this other pot to make it. Oh, what's that called? But anyways, yeah, I have it here. Probably in my pictures. I took a picture of pretty much everything in school. So I wouldn't forget anything. And yeah, and that's what I did. So anyways, you're using your blender and you go in there and you're going to see the sauce change color right before your eyes. And you're going to go in there. You're going to go in there like that, and you're going to be going at it for a while. And eventually, it's all going to mix together really well. Okay, and that's what you want. Where could this be? What is the name of that thing? Oh, there's so many pictures. I bet you I'll find something really cool to talk about too. Now you're working with meat, so I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't put some thyme in there and some rosemary, and if it's fresh, all the better. Oh, look at this! I found a picture of all the spices we had: chili powder, turmeric, curry, coriander, chili flakes, paprika, oregano, thyme, mustard spice, cumin. There's the rosemary, basil, cinnamon, never got used. That's our batch of spices. Aha! It's a rondeau. I found it. A rondeau. You can't see it there because of the glare. So the pot is called a rondeau pot, all right? And it's deep like this and round like this, all right? It's made for making the spaghetti sauce. So you're in there. Now you took the bay leaves out, right? Don't forget to take the bay leaves out before you start doing that. All right. So it cooked for a little while. All right. Then you take the bay leaves. Remember where the bay leaves were. You take them out and count them. All right. Because they're not edible. You can taste it. Tastes pretty good. Okay. Put that away. And now you're going. All right. Jeez, my eyes looked funny there for a second. It looked like I had one big eye and one small eye. I don't know if it was just me. So once that is done, you're going to taste it, and it is going to be the sweetest taste you'd ever imagine. Now, you take that and you're going to put that with a lasagna. Me, personally, I don't eat lasagna too often. We made it a lot for school, but I'm going to make it for my macaroni. I prefer macaroni over spaghetti. It's so much easier to swallow. Spaghetti can get stuck in the throat if you're a little older. So, I mean, if you're serving an older person, maybe a macaroni would be a better choice than a spaghetti. So, on that note, I think that's about it. Now, I haven't been making videos on Facebook, so on Meta. Every time I make a video, it stops recording. So we're going to stick to YouTube. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you subscribe. The more subscribers, the better. Maybe one day I'll get a check from YouTube and be able to buy some extra supplies and a nice sized kitchen to make my videos. I'd certainly adore making food for you if I could. And I don't think a camera is that expensive. I'm going to try and find something that stands up, a little pod cam or something like that. Then you can actually see downwards at the table while I'm cutting and while I'm cooking, and that'll be our next step. Sometime soon, hopefully. We'll see how it goes in the next couple months. January, February, March, it's a little slow, but when all the students go back to school, they're going to be eating out, and working as a chef really picks up. And that's where money's going to come in. So when I start making the cash, I will buy the equipment. Until then, really, we just need to know the basics. And that's what I want to educate you on, the basics. Um, they might not be exact, like the chef would teach you at school, but they'll give you a good hint towards what you need to know, how you need to approach something, and will give you a bit of a nudge to getting that A+ instead of A-, right? Little hints. That's what it's about, little things. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a thought or an idea in the comments, and we'll have a look into it. Okay. Next time we're going to be talking about well, it's going to be something interesting. I don't know yet. I'll just come up with something. I hope you watch. I hope you enjoy, and see you again tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye bye.